Good morning, everybody. In the previous class in software architecture, we studied predicting system qualities. Do you all remember? Yes, we studied the points on predicting system qualities and influencing the organizational structure. Then, at last, we studied the context of the software architecture. Okay, so in the context of the software architecture, we finished the technical context. The remaining project lifecycle, business, and professional context we are going to study in this class. Okay, in the context of the software architecture, we have to study four contexts, right? The first one is the technical context, second one is the project life cycle context, third is the business context, and the fourth one is the professional context. We have studied the technical context, which is telling about how the software engineers should be, how technically they should be knowledged. All those points we studied in that technical context. The next one is the project lifecycle context. In this, we are going to study about how the software should be, what is the life cycle of the software, and how it will be used to develop the software. Okay, that is only we are going to study in this context. In that, the first one is telling about this process, this software development process using a standard approach. Okay, second thing about it is giving some kind of discipline for the software engineers, how important should be, and how the team of the software engineers should work on this. And the third one is telling about, it is telling to the team what to do next. Okay, so there are four dominant software development process have been there. The first one is the waterfall model, second is the iterative model, third one is the agile model, and the fourth one is the model driven development model. All these models you have been studied in the software engineering subject itself. Okay, if a software is going to be developed by using any one of these model, there will be some kinds of advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so you can recall all these kinds of software development process models to develop the software. So this is about project lifecycle context. In the next slide, we are going to study about the activities which is involved in this architecture. Now we are going to study about architecture activities. It includes the design. Okay, so architecture is a special kind of design. It involves some set of activities. Okay, some 7 steps of activities are given here. First one is it should be the business case for the system. Second thing is the architecture has to understanding the significance of the requirements. Third one is a particular architecture should be selected. After selecting the architecture, it should be documented. After documenting it, it has to be analyzed whether this architecture is valid or this can be useful. Like that, the evaluation has to be done on the design. And the last one, it should be implemented, then it should be tested. Finally, it has to be ensured whether all the requirements have been implemented properly in the architecture. Business context. This is telling about how this software architecture is going to be implemented in the business manner. Okay, so it is not constructed in a playful manner. It has to be developed with some business goals also. So it serves some business purpose and it can be changed over a time. Okay, if the purpose of the system is not fulfill the customer, so the customer, when the customer is telling to change, we have to change and submit. Okay, so what is the architecture and business goals? Okay, it has to satisfy the business goals of the organization. How it can satisfy? First thing, the staff has to be satisfied. The one who is developing the software should be gainfully employed and they have to make the stakeholders happy, and this organization who is going to develop the software should make a profit. And how it can make a profit? It has to capture the market. Okay, based on that, this goal can be achieved. Second one is the goals of acquiring a system. Okay, the system which is going to be developed will have a specific goal that should be acquired. Okay, the last one is the architect should understand how the organization has been invested the amount on the software. So according to that, this architect has to make a profit for the software. So architecture and business goal will have a quality attribute. Okay, this for example, user visible response time or platform flexibility, all these things are quality attributes. Okay, quality attributes are nothing but how the user is going to respond according to the problem. Platform flexibility is nothing but the how this software is going to work across the platforms, different kinds of platforms. So what the architect has to do, they have to really work on the fast response time. Okay, and this product should be differentiated from the other developing organization, then only it can reach the market. Okay, some business goal will not show up in the form of requirements. Some of the goals may not be explained by the customer. Still they have to look at all the goals and they have to implement it. Okay, so a business goal to lower the cost by using the employees work from home or something, or they can reduce the papers which they are taking for the printout, like that. So software architecture is having some business goals in which we are studying about how they can reduce the cost of the software by working from the home. The employees can work at home, so many of the cost could have been reduced. So this is one kind of the business goal. You can look at the picture, you can identify that in the business goal there is a quality attribute. That quality attribute has to be developed by the architect. Okay, some of the non-architectural solutions are also there. It is not important, but quality attributes, based on the quality attributes, the software architecture should be developed. The last context is the professional context. As the name itself we can identify, professional means work. Work means it is the software engineers, how they have to do it. They have to perform many duties. Okay, so the architect should support the management and they have to deal with the customers. And this architect should have more than a technical skills. Not only the technical skills are enough for the software architect, he has to be more knowledge than the technical skills. And what he has to do, he has to explain everything to the stakeholders, how their expectations can be fulfilled. And this architect should be diplomatic. Okay, and he need ability to communicate the ideas clearly to the customer. And he has to manage diverse workload which is between the developers. Okay, how the developers can be allotted with works and how they can work on it, how you can achieve the more work from the developers. And they have to be the leader in the eyes of the developers. Whatever the developer is doing, he has to lead with all the points. Okay, then the architect should be up to date knowledge. He has to have up to date knowledge on patterns and how this business can be considered on that. Okay, so in the professional context we are studying about how the architect should be, how technically he should be developed and how he has to achieve all these things. Okay, stakeholders, it is the one or the user who is going to stake the success of the systems. Okay, so there may be different specific concerns and they have to guarantee or optimize the system. So architect should influence on the business, technical, project and professional context, and according to this influences of the architect, he has to develop the architecture of the system. That is only the figure is telling about. Okay, so the figure is telling about the architecture influences. All these influences should be there with the architect. Based on that, he is going to develop the architecture. That architecture is going to tell about the system. Finally, we are summarizing all the 4 different contexts that are technical, project life cycle, business, professional. Technical is telling about the achievement of the quality attribute requirements. Project life cycle is telling about the development methodology which you are going to implement it. Business is telling about how the architecture satisfies the business goals. Okay, professional is telling about how the skills and knowledge of the architect should be and how he has to do various duties. Okay, so all these architecture has the creation of software architecture. Okay, so we will call this as the architecture influence cycle. Clear? So with this, first unit is over. Okay, so today we studied the 3 different contexts: project life cycle, business and professional. Each one is telling about this. Project life cycle is telling about the methodology, business is telling about the goal of the software architect, professional is telling about the how the software architect should be professionally equipped. Okay, so these are the things we studied today. So with this, unit 1 is over. In the next slide we are going to study about the unit 2. Okay, in the previous slides we have studied the quality attributes. Okay, in the second unit, we are going to study about understanding quality attributes. So, understanding quality attributes are telling about the requirements. Okay, so all these requirements are coming under 3 categories. One is the functional requirements, second one is the quality attribute requirement, and third one is the constraints which is going to be implemented for the system. Okay, so based on all those things, based on all those quality attributes, we can have a part of the scenario. Okay, how the scenario should be. Okay, that is having some 6 parts like source of stimulus, environment, artifact, response and response measure. Okay, so this is the one which we are going to study in the remaining slides. Okay, the next we are going to study about architectural design decisions. There are some 7 categories of design decisions. Okay, so responsibilities, allocation of responsibilities, coordination model, data model, management of resources, mapping among architectural elements, binding, time decisions, choice of technology. Okay, so in this unit, in this second unit, we are going to study a first topic called understanding quality attributes. In that, first one alone we are going to study now, that is requirements of the system. Okay, that is in the 3 category: functional, quality attribute and constraint. Clear? So among all those 3, how this will be used, okay, to develop the software, that is only we are going to study. Already we have studied that architectural and requirements. Already we have listed out the requirements, right? 3 requirements: functional, quality attribute, constraint. What is this functional? This will tell what the system must do. Quality attribute is telling about how the system should be functionally qualified. Okay, based on some kinds of work of the user, it has to be functionally qualified. So that this is telling about the quality attribute. Constraints are telling about the rules and regulations for the decision. Initially, the system will be with the 0 degrees of freedom. Okay, according to the user's requirements, it will be with the constraints. Clear? Okay, first requirement is the functionality. Okay, already we studied functionality is the ability of the system. It has a strange relationship with the architecture. Okay, it will not determine the architecture, whereas it is telling how the functionality should be. There is no end to the architecture. Functionality and quality attributes are orthogonal. Okay, it is not with a specific design. It is not with a specific functionality. It may go in any manner. Next one is the quality attribute considerations. What is this quality attribute considerations? Already I told you attribute should be qualified. Okay, it has to be identified whether it is the quality one. For example, when the user presses the green button, the dialog box appears. Green means yes. Okay, like that. Okay, like that it gives some meaning. So like that, according to the functional at requirement, how this has to be qualified. Okay, for that, this question answer annotation might describe how quickly the dialog box will appear, how often this function will fail, and how it is easy to learn. Okay, all these things has to be answered. So how quickly means within a fraction of the second the dialog box should be appeared, and it has to provide the answer without fail. Okay, and since it is in a green color, it is very easy to learn and it is easy to remember. This is called as quality attribute consideration. According to the quality attribute considerations, there are some problems. Okay, we have listed out only three problems. The first problem is the attribute is not testable, it can be modifiable. Second one is much time will be wasted to qualify that particular concern. Okay, if it is fails, how it can be and how it is going to be, while in the another option, what is the performance of that, and how securely it will be used, and what is the usability of that particular requirement. So this is the second problem. Third problem should be the developer can use their own vocabulary. Okay, so these are the three different problems when there is a quality of the attribute consideration. So how can we find out the solution for the problem? Okay, the solution to the first two problem is categorizing the quality attributes. Categorizing means how quality means there are some five kinds of attributes. Among those five, which is highly qualified, which is highly necessary, like that, according to the priority, it could have been categorized. According to the importance, it could have been categorized. Like that, it has to be categorize the quality attributes. The solution to the third problem is discussion of each attribute, means they are using their own vocabulary. Okay, that should be avoided. So for each and every attribute, for naming the attribute, they have to discuss. Okay, according to the discussion, they have to keep a particular fundamental community name. Okay, now we are going to study the specifying quality attribute requirements. Okay, how the quality attributes can be specified by using some 6 attributes. First one is the source of the stimulus. Source of the stimulus, who is giving the information. It can be a people or a hardware or a software, a physical and infrastructure or physical environment can be the source of the stimulus. Okay, it can be a human or a computer system or any other actuator who is generating this system. Okay, second one is the stimulus. Stimulus is the condition which requires to response when that particular attribute has been occurred. For example, it can be omission, it can be crash, or it can be the incorrect timing or incorrect response. Okay, next one is the environment. Environment is telling about the conditions. Okay, where it is going to be, whether it is going to perform in a normal way or it is going to have some irrelevant state. So for that, how it has to work. Next one is the artifact. So some artifact is stimulated, for example, processors, communication channels, okay, persistent storage process, like that. There are many kinds of artifacts. So the whole collection of the system will be the system. Okay, whole collection of all these things will be the system. Next one is the response. According to these kinds of activities, what is the result of this arrival of the stimulus? Okay, so it can be prevent from the failure or it can identify the fault. Okay, whether it has to give log or notify or how they can recover from the fault. Okay, last one is the response measure, which is telling about how the user has been respond for that particular attribute. When the response occurs, it should be measurable in some fashion so that it can be tested. See, for example, some problem has been occurred in your system. It is giving you warning message. You're not looking at the warning message since simply you're clicking on OK or something, it cannot respond. Okay, so according to that, the quality attribute, how the user response should be, that is only response measure. Okay, so these are all the quality attribute requirements. So in the second unit, we have studied quality attribute considerations, functionality, and the requirements. Clear? Okay, the remaining thing we will study in the next classes.